Welcome back to Nerf Game Theory. I am Captain Xavier, and today I'm going to talk about throwable weapons in the Nerf community. And again, there are no standards, but I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I've seen and various suggestions and all of that. Now, throwables have been a part of Nerf since the creation of Nerf. One of the oldest Nerf products that I have, anyway, is the Nerf foam ball. It came out in 1970, possibly 1969, depending on what dates you look at. And that was one of the earliest things. They also had a foam football, and I've got the Super Bowl and the flying foam disc, and they've been creating, foam footballs and toys and stuff the whole time. It's always been a part of Nerf. It's also been an integral part of things like HVZ, where socks have been one of the ammo types that have been allowed, or weapons that have been allowed, since its creation, as far as I know. I got a whole video on the sock ninja. So yeah, it's always been a part of this hobby, and again, some places allow it in their wars and other places don't, and it's kind of up to you. First concern, as with all of this, is going to be safety. And remember, the question isn't can it be used safely, but rather can it be used unsafely, and how likely is that? Again, we look at worst case scenarios, not best case scenarios, and then kind of weigh the likelihood. So anything traveling at a high enough velocity is, of course, dangerous, but we can't necessarily throw things at that velocity. But you ask, how likely would this be to seriously hurt if somebody got hit in the face with it when it's thrown too hard? You don't look at, could you be safe about it if you throw it lightly and hit him in the torso? Yeah, that's not where we look at for safety. It's if they throw too hard and hit you right in the face, how badly is that going to ruin your day? And that's going to be a sliding scale. If you're using nothing but little kids, you might want to be a little bit more careful about what you allow them to throw at each other. If it's all adults and they're wearing full face masks, you could get away with a lot more. And you need to figure out what standard is best for you. Where are you going to put the line for safety? And it's something you need to sit down and think about, and then figure out where your line is and draw that line and stick to it until somebody convinces you to move it one way or the other. And be open to that, to being convinced that maybe I threw the line in the wrong spot. Yeah, safety first. As for once you decide that you are going to allow throwables, well, what kind of things are you going to allow, and what sort of effects are they going to have, and how might you use those to make your games more interesting? Socks have been used in HVZ. I've seen it in a number of different ways, where one HVZ I went to, their first mission was throwables only. So if you didn't bring any socks, you had no weapons in the first mission, and that made it terrifying. I've also been to HVZs where they had super zombies that could only be taken out by throwables. You could have blasters, but they just didn't work on some zombies, and that's also a perfectly legitimate mechanic, and it can make the game interesting and remind people that it isn't always about the fancy blaster. Sometimes it's about a pocket full of socks. Some groups will allow you to throw just regular ammunition, just a pocket full of darts, and fling them. And again, how do you work that mechanically? Do they just count as the ammo type that you throw? Do they always count as a category lower, maybe a category higher? Work out what you think is fair. If people are throwing demolisher rockets, or not going to have a whole lot of range or accuracy. Same thing with you're throwing mega darts, so you might go ahead and consider those to be, either heavy ammo or medium ammo, or if they're throwing just a handful of rival balls, darts, and full darts, just flinging them. Again, you're not going to have a lot of range or accuracy, so you might go ahead and just count it as a tag. Hasbro has put out more interesting throwable weapons, specifically for HVZ. They had my absolute favorite, the Zombie Strike Half Brick. I've got another one around here somewhere. I hope I can find it. I want more. If anyone is willing to part with their Zombie Half Brick, let me know. Zombie Strike Half Brick. They also came out with throwable discs, which are just hilarious and fantastic. I was pulling them off of things like the brain saw and the cross cut, but then they actually came out with a pack of these, and they're, again, horrifically inaccurate, but they're just fun. I have stress balls with my logo on it. I have foam stress ball grenades this one's from Campbell Nerf Works. Franz Foam Works also has foam grenades you can get. I have cake! Found squishy cake at a Goodwill. I've got a whole box of weird squishy foods. I have some nice throwing knives that somebody sent me. They're coreless, they're just pure foam and really, really pretty. Any of those would be perfectly reasonable depending on your rule set. And again, you can come up with mechanics on how they can be used and who can use them and what they do. Things you might be a little bit more leery of, things like, say, the Zax or any of the Hasbro axes. Most of the Hasbro ones aren't so bad. The Zax is, you know, it's mostly soft foam, but then you get right to the head and there's hard plastic up there, and so, you know, maybe not the best option. Whereas something like some of the zombie strike weapons are, again, pure foam. They do have a core, but it's a very flexible core and a very light core. And so it's less likely to cause any injuries. This, I don't think I would want to get thrown into my face at full speed, but again, up to you. Our rules, we don't allow generally don't allow anything with a serious core. We don't allow swords that have a more rigid core. Definitely nothing with a PVC core or anything like that. We have had to talk to people who got carried away and threw their sword when the person they were trying to hit with their melee weapon was faster than them. It's like, that's not cool, kid. Safety, that's the big concern, of course. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. Like I said, you can have special rounds that are throwable only, or targets that can only be taken out by throwables, or various objectives that have to do with throwables. You can play with it. It does make it interesting. If you've got someone who's really good at throwing stuff accurately, that would make the game really fun for them, because that would be something they could excel at. You might, you know, it's one of the things you might recommend. Okay, hey, if you're really good at it, come up with a scenario that's built around it and see how other people like it. And you can do a lot of fun things with scenarios and special ammo types and special weapons and throwables and stuff like that. So, there's my thoughts on throwables. We allow them here at the arena. They're a lot of fun. And I like when games find interesting ways to use them. So let me know, how have you guys used throwables? What have you seen done at wars or HVZs that involved, you know, socks? Or tell me the story of your sock ninja. Sock guy is a legend at U of I. So let me know. And thank you for watching.